Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 4 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go to Bristol in both the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series, where we had subscriber Kyler Scott here in the Xfinity car for us at Bristol. And I was expecting a pretty decent run for us at Bristol, but actually Kyler would run into some trouble throughout this race as he came through now, getting sideways as you saw him down the back straightaway. He would collect the four of Ross Chastain. They would go hard into the wall, and this is a little bit later in the race, so basically Kyler just kind of had to nurse his way home here in Bristol as he came through turns 3 and at turn 4, heading down that front straightaway. So it was a very rough race for us here in the Xfinity Series for Bristol, as it was P20 for Kyler here in Bristol. But before we go to Bristol qualifying, we have a bit of a news story coming into this one, that we are being rumored to possibly replace our teammate of Clint Bowyer in the 14 next season. It would be an inter-team change, with Bowyer being the odd one out and someone coming in to replace me at the 41. So not really a big change, but just kind of going from one car in our team to another one. It's not confirmed, but it's certainly a rumor that's being floated around the NASCAR Cup Series garages. We came through, into qualifying with a 15.660, and we would go P5 here for Cup Series qualifying. So definitely a very good effort for us as we've won the last few races here, and we got Kyle Busch on the pole.
The Cup Series returns to the last great Coliseum for the Bass Pro Shops NRA Night Race. This half-mile concrete oval is famous for its bone-rattling hits and heart-stopping finishes. Who will come out on top tonight? It's time to find out.
Alright, thank you, Rick Allen. We're ready to go green here at Bristol Motor Speedway. We got Keselowski, who's happy with us. David Reagan, though, he crashed during qualifying, so he is starting at the back of the field. And then we got Kyle Busch, obviously, on the pole. Looking for win number 10 on the season for Kyle Busch. Can he do it here today? It's been a couple races now since he has won. He would certainly like to change things around at a track where he's won many races at in the past, in all three series, Trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup Series. Will he win again today here in Bristol? We're about to find out as the green flag is out, and we are underway from the 5th starting position behind the one car of Kurt Busch as we go down into turns 1. There you see our teammate of Clint Bowyer in the 14. Obviously, like I said, the rumor is that there's a potential opportunity that we might be replacing him in the 14, but at the same time, he's really picked up the performance lately here in our career mode, so he's certainly fighting for his ride now as we go down into turns 1, as we still don't really know where we're going to end up. Now, as we could be in the 14, we could end up still being in the 41 next season, or we could end up on a completely different team if things don't quite work out here with contract negotiations with Stewart Haas Racing. Now as we exit turn 4, we know that Daniel Suarez is eager to get in one of these cars. He's been a big free agent in our career mode. Now as we came through out on lap 8, it actually started falling back down to, as you can see here, P7 or so, as Kurt Busch was leading the way. William Byron had gotten to our inside as we make a little bit of contact with our teammate of Bowyer, as Byron would go through, and then we had come through now up to P6 as we came through all the way to lap 19 already in the stage. Just 12 to go, as there wasn't a whole lot happening in these first couple stages. We came through turns 1 and now to turns 2 on the outside of the 18 to Kyle Busch. He is no longer leading, obviously, and as we came through on lap 22 of the stage, now obviously dealing with all this lap traffic, going 3 wide up the middle between Corey LaJoie and the 34 of Michael McDowell as we went down into turns 3. Our teammate of Kevin Harvick just in front of us in that 4th position. Harvick's ride is obviously secure for a long time here, as we would actually get to the inside of him and pass him, coming into just 2 laps to go. In the stages, we actually got sideways and into the outside while we went there with the 66 of Joey Gase, as a caution would actually come out a lap early and end stage 1. I hit the brakes and the car just slid down onto the apron. Obviously, I lost control and nailed the 66 of Joey Gase into the wall. That ended the stage. Like I said, you would have to pit for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires, as well as obviously a tiny bit of repairs, but we really didn't get much damage from that incident, thankfully. Now as William Byron is up there in P2 at the end of the stage, he drops a position as we gain 3 spots on the pit lane and get ready to start stage 2 already here from the 2nd position. William Byron obviously fighting for that final spot in the playoffs. We get an incredible restart compared to Brad Keselowski. All of a sudden, we are leading here in Bristol. Like I said, we've won the last 2 races at this track here in Bristol. Now as we exit turn 2, side by side with the 2 of Brad Keselowski. Side by side still as we come through turns 3 and turns 4. Keselowski, though, has the edge on the exit of the corner. He leads the first and opening lap here in Bristol. William Byron in P3 lurking behind us, looking to get that final spot, like I said, in the playoffs over Chris Buescher. As we came through now on lap 3, looking to the inside of Keselowski as we make contact there, coming through to cross the line, and he's going to go sideways into turns 1 up towards the wall. William Byron looks to my inside. We're going to go 3 wide for the lead. I decided to back out of it because I knew that that hole was going to close very quickly. So myself and Keselowski, though, after this, started to drift back quite considerably now as we were down to P5, just passing Keselowski now for P4 as Boyer had gotten past, and so did Chase Elliott. And then we would actually be able to repass Clint Boyer here as we came through turns 3 and turns 4 on lap 15, so we would take P3 back over and set our sights on Chase Elliott, and sure enough, we came through a handful of laps later on lap 21, dealing with lap traffic. We had passed Chase Elliott down the back straightaway towards turn 3 as William Byron was continuing to lead in the 24 car. The 24 car hasn't won in ages, and William Byron looks to do that here though today in Bristol as we come through now to just 2 laps to go. In the stage, there was actually a crash up ahead, and I would get some damage there hitting the outside wall into turns 3 as once I hit the brakes there, because I saw Newman crashing, I hit the brakes so hard the car just kind of went out of control, so we hit the wall and obviously pick up a little bit of damage on the right side, but William Byron would win the stage here for stage 2 and get a playoff point, which could be very well needed if he makes the playoffs here. We're still going to see if he can do that or not, but we would pit for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires, and already get ready for the third and final stages. These first 2 stages kind of went really quick, wasn't really much happening in terms of the racing, so now we get ready to start stage 3 here side by side with the 24 of William Byron. The green flag is back up and stage 3 is underway here in Bristol. We certainly haven't quite had the speed that we've had here in the past 2 races where we just won both of them, so I was certainly a little bit concerned by that now as we exit turn 2, heading down this back straightaway, going down into turn 3, sending it up the outside of the 24 of William Byron. Byron leads on the exit of the corner and leads the first and opening lap of the third and final stage here in Bristol Motor Speedway. Hamlin in P3 lurking behind us. We were able to make a pass on him in the last lap earlier this season to win the race. As we actually get to the back of the 24 of William Byron. Sideways he goes. He hangs onto it, but he's sideways again, and I hit the brakes so hard we spin ourselves out here to avoid him. Now as we picked up Keselowski, Boyer as well. A little bit of contact with him as the caution is going to come out here in Bristol. I practically wrecked myself to avoid cleaning out William Byron at the end. We already done some damage to him by shoving him like that, as he just slowed up a lot more than I expected into turns 3, unfortunately, and I didn't want to take him out because I knew if we took him out that was going to be huge for his playoffs, so I decided to basically just kind of sacrifice myself there and wreck myself. Thankfully, we didn't really get any damage out of it, so already now down in P24, thankfully there was a lot of cars to lap down that we're only about midfield after we crash and go to the pit lane now as we would get up to this top lane, and we would be able to move our way forwards really quickly now as we came through on lap 77. Side by side with Matt DiBenedetto on the number 95 as we came through turns 3 and turns 4. We now get into the back of the 20 of Eric Jones like we did Byron, and he's going to go spinning down the front straightaways. We nearly get cleaned out now. We take him out. Johnson involved now as I am just a kind of a wrecking ball here today in the final stage in Bristol, as I've just kind of driving in over my head, to be completely honest there, as we have expected to be a car that should be leading this race and winning this race, and here we are struggling here today in Bristol, and I was certainly trying to make up for the difference, and that was resulting in silly mistakes there as we made with William Byron, as I just wasn't quite expecting them to be so much slower through the center of the corner. At least some of those guys like Byron, he was a lot slower than when I hit him when I expected, and then Eric Jones was even slower than Byron was, I think, and I certainly did not anticipate him being so slow, so I just drove straight into the back of him now as we came through though on lap 82. Byron trying to recover from everything. Eric Jones is still up here with us now as we're side by side with the 43 of Bubba Wallace at this point as we came through turns 1 and at turns 2, but certainly looking like a bit of an idiot out here today and at Bristol now as we're side by side with Keselowski. Still somehow find ourselves in the top 10 now as we're 3 wide with Bowman now as we thankfully make it through, and we would pass some of these slower cars that stayed out and work our way back up to P3, passing the 3 of Austin Dillon. Boyer, our teammate, up to P2 trying to chase down Denny Hamlin, and as we came through now on lap 98 into the lap traffic, just smoke up ahead, and it's from the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. who goes straight into the wall there as we are going to get another caution in Bristol. A little bit of contact with Stenhouse as he comes down to the track straight into the side of me now, as that would again force a restart here in Bristol. This final stage certainly has been a wild one now as the green flag returns as we're in P3. Some damage on the right side of the car. Chase Elliott with a very slow restart. A bunch of cars had a slow restart because they hit Stenhouse after the caution. Surprisingly, we didn't get the restart glitch now as we're side by side with our teammate of Clint Boyer. After this wild final stage it has been so far, we still find ourselves in contention for a win here in Bristol. We've made some silly mistakes so far in this final stage, but hopefully in the final 23 laps we can eliminate those from happening here as Chase Elliott would pass Clint Boyer to take over P3. Obviously Elliott looking for win number 1 on the season still, but we would drive away from Elliott and start to close in on the back of Denny Hamlin, but then the caution would actually come out with 13 laps to go again, so we've had like 4 cautions already here in the third and final stage. So once again setting up for a restart side by side with the 11 of Denny Hamlin. 10 laps to go here at Bristol Motor Speedway. 10 laps goes by in like 2 minutes at at this racetrack, so obviously we don't have a lot of time to make something happen as we're sideways on the exit of turn 2. I was certainly starting to feel that now as we came to 8 to go, still right on the back of Denny Hamlin at this point. As I was slipping and sliding on the exit of the corner, we came through to the lap 122. Just a handful of laps to go now as we came out of turn 2 sideways again. We overcorrect into the outside wall, and then the caution comes out again as we picked up quite severe damage on the right side of the car, but this would force just 2 laps to go, so obviously I decided to stay out. It's overtime. We're going to see what we can do here. We have nothing to lose. Hamlin, though, has no wins on the season. We don't want to mess him over too much now as the green flag is back out. NASCAR overtime is underway. A wild final stage here in Bristol as we go down into turns 1, and turns 2 side by side now as we get sideways again on the exit of turn 2, and we're going down to the apron with the 43 of Bubba Wallace is going to come back up the track. Sideways goes the 43 and the 9 as they make contact, and we all hang on to it now as we come through out of turn 4, starting the final lap here in Bristol. Denny Hamlin is long gone from the pack. Keselowski the closest to him as Byron, he snuck through to get up in the top 5. Elliott and P3s were side by side with the 43 of Bubba Wallace down into turn 3. A little bit of contact again between himself and I, but Denny Hamlin gets win number 1 on the season in a wild race at Bristol as we slide across the line here to somehow still finish in P7 at Bristol Motor Speedway after I drove wildly that race. Certainly did not go over well. And hopefully we don't have a performance like that one again, because it just was not good for us here today in Bristol. After I said, I know there was people angry with me for sure after that one. I tried to make up the difference with a struggling car, and it looked like an idiot doing it. Pretty obvious statement from myself there here today at Bristol Motor Speedway. And as always, if you guys did, though, enjoy this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated. There you see 3 drivers, 3 messages, obviously. None of them were very happy with us. So making some enemies here tonight in Bristol, certainly 100% my fault in pretty much every single situation that happened. I felt pretty bad for it all, but there's nothing we can do about it now except just set our sights on the next one at Darlington, the throwback race. So we're going to see how that goes. Darlington certainly can be really good for you, or it could be really rough for you, and hopefully it's not as rough as it was here tonight in Bristol, because I look like a fool out there on the track, at least in the third and final stage. The first stage we made a mistake here and there, but we put those first 2 together. The third one was awful. But as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.